Contemporary learning theory is catering for the 21st century learners. Illus states that contemporary learning theory is a great number of more or less special or overlapping theories of learning that are consistently being developed, some of them referring back to more traditional understandings, others trying to explore new possibilities. My personal teaching framework is centered around connectedness, recognition of difference, supportive classroom environments, and developing intellectual quality, all of which cater for learning diversity, which aligns with the overarching curriculum goals, allowing the teacher to plan their pedagogical approach to bridge the gaps, integrating new knowledge and that connect to real-world problems, identifying what lessons might be learnt by mere participation in a curriculum in a particular way, allowing the teacher to develop learning outcomes that suit the identified curriculum and students. In this way, teachers can make learning relevant to students, their learning needs, and catering for diversity. To ensure students achieve curriculum learning objectives, monitoring must take place. Monitoring is achieved by aligning three distinct strategies: teaching, monitoring, and assessment. These are all aligned with the outcome goals of the Australian curriculum to help monitor learning. The first step is monitoring and evaluating students' prior knowledge during the introduction, body, and conclusion of each lesson to assess what students already know or remember. Monitoring happens so the teacher can make adjustments to their teaching practice. Adjustments are made by scaffolding to bridge the gaps in student learning, knowledge, and understanding. This develops intellectual quality through thinking skills, which are used to challenge students' thinking and provide a deeper understanding of curriculum content. Teaching higher order thinking skills involves personal learning experiences, problem solving, reconstructing, and creating. This creates a learning environment that motivates learners and encourages students individually and collaboratively to achieve specific learning outcomes. Creative thinking is done through explicit teacher-led discussion, where the teacher asks students to justify their reasoning and teachers can relate their reasoning to real-life situations. In my experience on prac, I noticed a lot of students disengaged and off task. Through observations, I could see limited hands-on manipulatives, making it hard for students to make connections to real world. My experiences showed that learning had no relevance, therefore the students had become disengaged. Experience has shown that students have to make connections by interacting with both technology and create manipulatives if the teacher wants to cater for the needs of the 21st century learner. I've seen that students are more engaged in their learning when they have choices in the way they learn. Simply by giving them choices from a series of activities that all relate to the same curriculum outcome allows students to be in charge of their learning experiences. Students were able to be guided through their learning experiences through guided discussion at the end of every lesson. This is where the teacher connects with the students by asking them to justify their personal learning experiences, and ideas are shared with the class. Proving experimental theory a success by aligning learning experiences with the curriculum documents to form the framework for successful teaching pedagogy. On prac, students were able to make decisions for the way they present their assessment items, therefore they are able to choose an assessment that works for their personal strengths. I believe this happens through engaging students in conversations, asking them their learning needs. This incorporates L'Oreal's conversational theory, which looks at the ongoing learning-teacher interaction. Further, the conversation theory aligns with Atherton's constructivist approach, as he suggests the learner is more actively involved in a joint enterprise with the teacher of creating new meaning. Aligning Slob's experimental learning circle, there are 4 stages of this theory. These 4 stages of learning are concrete experience, reflection or observation, abstract conceptualization theory, and active experimental theory. Objectives are identified through teacher-guided discussion before planning can begin. In this way, the teacher is able to adapt the teaching by identifying the curriculum content relevant to the student's learning needs. This aligns with Morgan's motivation to learning theory. As he states, learning is either intrinsic, expressive, doing something for the sake of it, or intrinsic, instrumental, doing something for some other reason. This helps to describe the idea of traditional assessment. If assessment is intrinsic motivator and students have collaboratively designed their own assessment, it means it is designed for the purpose of assessment for learning and not for learning. In this way, teaching can scaffold learning by linking the explicit teaching and linking it to the needs of the students and the contemporary learning theory. My personal learning framework, teachers need to connect to students by linking their learning to the real world. In this way, students will be more engaged in their learning, and this incorporates the contemporary learning theory to my teaching practice.